Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Gaming News at Noon with, of course, Shady and Boom and two additional panel members. This is the E3 2019 prediction show where we're going to talk about 20 of the biggest games coming and confirmed to E3 2019. Of course, I have to start with my panel because I could not do this without them. And as always, So Shady, who we know as one of the busiest guys in the podcasting game, is here as usual. He is, of course, my new co-host on this adventure. Shady, welcome to today's show.
Thanks, Boom. It is so good to be here, man. It's 2 weeks in a row now. Can't wait to make it many more. E3 is about to kick the door down. I'm like a little kid, man. This is the most exciting time of year for me. I'm so hyped. I've got buddies coming over this weekend, and hype. That's all I can say. Super hype, man. Let's get into these topics. I cannot wait to talk about them.
Yeah, thanks again for being here. It is going to be a great show. And of course, next up, we have someone who I consider to be a brother. He is, of course, from the Washington, D.C. area. He is one of the co-hosts to the outstanding Basement Radio Arcade podcast on Wednesday evenings. Please welcome Enrique.
What is going on, gentlemen? This is my first show with you, this show in particular, because I always do Breakfast with Boom.
Yes.
So this is actually cool that I got a chance to do this, man. So especially right before E3, man. So I'm excited to talk about these topics, and man, I can't believe E3 is here. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is one of the best times of the year for gamers. And of course, Enrique, love having you on the show. Your insight is always very appreciated. And last but certainly not least, you've heard him on Breakfast with Boom numerous times. He is a Black Desert champion. He's also a real diehard video game player. I consider him to be a very good friend, and he is also a fantastic community member. Please welcome Tempest Son.
Thank you, Boom, for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. And this crept up on us this Sunday, man. E3, can't believe it. We got a lot to talk about it, so let's get into it.
Yeah, listen, we're obviously days away from the start of E3 2019. And like I've said many times before, this is basically Christmas morning that lasts an entire week, starting this weekend. And now normally we're all excited of what we're going to see from Sony, Xbox, and of course Nintendo, and what they're going to bring to the big show. Now, obviously, sadly enough, Sony decided mid-2019 to pull out of the big conference, leaving the doors wide open for both Xbox and Nintendo to show off their wares. But today's episode is going to be a little different because my esteemed panel and I will be breaking down the third-party developers and what we're expecting from them. Of course, confirmed for the show is Ubisoft, EA, Bethesda, Square-Enix, and of course, THQ is going to be there in a big way. And, the only one out of those that are not having a traditional show is, of course, EA. They also decided to only run their EA Play, which is going to allow people like myself who got into that event to try out the new Star Wars game, among others, that's actually the only thing I'm really looking forward to because, the Maddens and the FIFAs, what you would expect with EA Sports. I could take it or leave it. I'm more interested to see what they're going to do with the new Star Wars game. But we're going to open today's show with Square-Enix, and for a lot of reasons. The big reveal is probably going to be Marvel's Avengers, formerly known as the Avengers Project. And panel, this game has been shrouded in mystery, and though great for this show, recent leaks just broke. And this is what we know. Ahead of the E3 showcase, a description of the Avengers video game was leaked via the E3 Coliseum website, including that the game will have co-op and solo play options. Now, of course, the leaked details have since been removed from the E3 site, which is probably an oversight on their part. But according to PC Gamer, where I pulled this story from, the description of the E3 unveiling of the game is said to say, and it says this: This is the defining gaming experience, an epic action adventure that combines cinematic storytelling with continuous single player and co-op or cooperative gameplay. And this is what it also continues to say. Assemble in teams up to 4 players, master extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine powers to defend an ever-expanding world under constant threat. Now, of course, I'm going to immediately take this to my panel. I've heard that the Marvel's Avengers, that it's now being called, is being compared to Destiny-like, and that it will be an ever-growing world allowing years of content that will expand the universe. Now, as a fan of Destiny, The Division, Ghost Recon, I'm very excited to see what is revealed at E3. But what are your expectations for Marvel's first big game in their new venture when it comes to making video games? And Shady, I want to start with you because I know you're a big Marvel fan. What are you expecting from Marvel's Avengers?
If those rumors are to be believed, for one, I'm really, really excited. I like the idea of that 4-player co-op, the customization, the infinite replayability. It all sounds good. And it does sound kind of looter, shooter, Destiny-esque, if you will. Like, it really does. And if that's the case, I hope that there is a really varied amount of heroes to play as. I'm not sure if I don't know where I'm sitting on. Do I want to play as the icons? Do I want to actually be Iron Man, or do I want to create my own unique superheroes that we're playing as? I'm not sure what they're going to do. I bet you it's going to be the icons, and we're able to get different pieces of gear and different equipment, maybe different powers. You can only have so many of their gigantic array of abilities each at a time, perhaps. So I'm not sure how it's going to work, man. I hope there's a lot of options. I hope the customization is really, really deep. And whatever this open world that we get to go out and explore infinitely, I guess, I want there to be a lot of stuff to do. Like, I really want there to be varied activities, like a lot of varied ones, and a lot of detail. Like, picture Anthem, but good, like really good, with a lot of stuff. I would like that, basically. Like, I mean, I really do. The rumors got me more excited than I was before because I wasn't sure what we're going to get with the superhero game. The only ones who have really nailed it were Batman and then the recent Spider-Man, I think.
Right.
Anyway.
Great point.
Like,
yeah.
A lot of superhero games are relatively sloppy, if you will, kind of that AA category. They're not terrible, but they're not what I want to see, like with that big AAA stuff. So I wasn't too sure what we were going to get. Was it just a Batman Spider-Man game, but we get to play as the Avengers now? Whereas this sounds like something pretty unique. I like the co-op aspect, and I do like that that looter infinite replayability part. So I'm really hyped to see what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm a huge Marvel fan. I mean, listen, I enjoy a lot of DC stuff. I've enjoyed, especially like in the films, obviously the first couple, not so much, but Wonder Woman was fantastic. Aquaman, if you didn't see it, really good. I didn't see Shazam. I heard great things about it. But I'm more of a Marvel guy, and obviously with Endgame being what it was, one of the greatest films I thought ever to hit the big screen, and of course the MCU being what it is and what it's going to be in the future, having a quality Marvel game excites me as a fan, especially when you look back to and this is, people are not going to know what I'm talking about unless you're an old bastard like me, but I remember playing with like the Mego figures, and if you don't know what a Mego figure was, those were like the dolls for boys that were all superheroes. They had real clothes, they had bendable hands and feet. And I remember, when I think about how much fun I had as a kid, back in the 70s when I was playing with these figures as they're considered dolls. But I had a blast with them. And now the way gaming has changed, where what you're seeing on your screen is just so amazing. And, I want to go to Enrique next on this. Obviously, I don't know whether or not you're a big Marvel fan like me, but for you, someone that has played Destiny, who enjoys the Division, seeing Marvel take all of this history that they have with the Marvel universe, obviously the MCU being as hot as as can possibly be, what are your expectations for this particular game?
Oh man, I'm just really excited because it's a Marvel game, and just being where I think how popular the MCU is right now, and just growing up and reading the comics and whatnot, and I'm excited, Boom. I can't wait to learn more about this game. I am a little nervous about the open world, the looter shooter, just because of what happened with Anthem. I'd hate to see something like that happen to a Marvel franchise. But I'm going to keep an open mind. I hope it has deep customization. Hope it has content. Hope it has a good end game. I hope it. I kind of like what Shady was saying. Do I want to play as Iron Man, or maybe do I have the ability to create a customizable character? We'll see. If there's anyone I want to play, it's definitely probably Wolverine, because he's probably one of my. I know it's so cliche. He's probably one of my favorite Marvel characters. But him and Galactus. And I'll say this: we need a proper Silver Surfer movie. Can we get one of those?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's funny because you talk about the X-Men, you bring up Fantastic Four, villains / heroes. It's great that of course the Marvel and Disney more specifically has retained the rights to everything Fantastic Four, and of course everything mutant related with the X-Men when they bought when they bought Fox.
Yeah,
so all of those characters are coming home. And it would be great to be able to play some of these iconic characters in this game.
Oh, absolutely. So, I have tempered expectations. I anytime I hear open world looter shooter, I get a little, nervous, because, we've had some games that more recently Anthem that haven't really
completely dropped the ball
kind
and
of delivered the goods. So, but I think we got a taste of what it'd be like flying around as Iron Man with Anthem.
That's a great point. That is a really, really great point. Yeah, listen, you can say what you want about Anthem's content, and yes, it was extremely underwhelming, but graphically it was beautiful.
Oh, it was beautiful.
No doubt about it. But what they got right was the movement. Yes. Being able to fly the javelins the way you could, any way you wanted, was astonishing. And I think that if they ever wanted to make an Iron Man game per se, on the lines of like what they did with Spider-Man, that's how you would make the flight combat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, man. And flying around as Iron Man like that would be pretty badass.
It really was, especially with
in combat. That'd be awesome.
It would be. It would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this game. I think everybody is. Tempest, before I get to your point, I have to say a big thank you to Scrubners with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says the Avengers game makes me think back to the arcade X-Men, which that was dope. I remember putting so many quarters into that back in the day. Can't wait to see what they show us. Great panel and chat. Hashtag Phil Dominus. Yes, I love that. And of course, Nightwolf 3186 with the outstanding $5 super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity. He says, pumped for E3. Let's go. Also, would love to hear panel's thoughts on Beyond Good and Evil 2. Feel like it hasn't gotten much attention. Well, guess what, dude? It's, even though it has been confirmed, unfortunately, that it's not going to be at this year's E3 once again. We do have a topic based on that, so we'll be talking about that in a sec. And Tempest, listen, you're a dude that enjoys like these multiplayer, big world kind of a games. I mean, obviously, you enjoyed the heck out of Black Desert and plenty of others prior to that. Does the thought of being able to possibly create your own hero and or have the use of any hero of the, in their lineup excite you? And what are your expectations for what Square-Enix is going to be bringing to the table at E3?
I'm just glad we're going to be seeing it for one. It's been, I think, a couple years now, and we haven't heard anything about it. Just, that simple teaser trailer. So who really knows what it's going to look like? When I hear Justice League or Avengers, the only real game I can really think of that makes sense is something like what's coming to the Switch in June, July. Reason I say that is the amazing hurdle the developers would have to get over. You go from Black Widow, who has human abilities. Yeah, she's, amazing and karate chop people to death and then shoot guns. But I mean,
that's great. I love it.
You go from that, but then to the Anthem gameplay, and then you go from that to the Hulk that can jump, 1,000 feet in the air and ground pound and blow up a city. So how do you make that work? I think how you make it work is there's a little game. It's been forever since I played it. It's called City of Heroes. It was a MMO that was
Oh, I remember
fashioned-
that.
yeah,
Yes, I remember
fashioned.
that, dude.
Yep.
Yes.
It was fashioned after, a little bit like World of Warcraft, but pretty much what it was is in the beginning, you create your own character. I think that's the route they should take. That way you can probably contain the gameplay a little bit, and make it so as you level, maybe you can't just be a Black Widow. Maybe you can use guns, but you get some super, I don't know, movement ability or something to that effect. Maybe keep the characters for almost like a power up or just certain story missions. You get to be the overpowered, Iron Man, Captain America, whoever, leave it like that. So personally, I would love to make my own character and just be able to pick my powers like I could in City of Heroes.
Yeah.
And as far as it being like Destiny, I mean, you can be like Destiny and it not be a looter shooter. I mean, what I mean is there's ways you can level up and just get more skills, more this and that. I mean, honestly, you could take the approach that they took for that the Marvel game that got shut down. I think it was last year, but it's kind of like the Ultimate Alliance games too, just in that 3D space. It doesn't quite have to be a looter shooter, but that's the route I kind of hope they take. But if they prove me wrong and they figured it out, they figured out a way where I could play as Black Widow, pew-pewing things, and then Shady's to my right as the Hulk, breaking buildings. If they can make that work, then my hat's off to them, So
I'm very interested to see, what I love about this ideology of using Marvel in this ever-growing world, right? Like, you look at Destiny, you look at the Division, you look at what Anthem was supposed to be, right? And they have this promise of this just letting your imagination run wild of what we would see. But what's unique about Marvel is there are so many stories that they could tell, but because they have the full backing of Disney, because Marvel is involved, because they have access to every character under the sun, the stories that could be written for this could be timeless.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And, again, I'm getting goosebumps, folks, because I'm a gamer. So I get excited about this stuff. Even though I'm going to be 49, I'm never going to stop gaming. I'm going to be, when I'm 100, I'm still going to be gaming. The thought of getting a Secret Wars or a Secret Invasion or something along the lines of these big giant story arcs that are going to be happening where you're going to have access. Maybe I can't use Nova in the beginning. Maybe I can't use, someone from the Guardians of the Galaxy or Silver Surfer right now. But let's just say, for instance, there's a world-ending event with Galactus that's going to involve the Fantastic Four and a lot of their hero/villains. Maybe we'll get a chance to see Super Skrull. Maybe we will get a chance to see Kang. I mean,
maybe we can be the villain.
Maybe we could be the villain. Now we are freaking talking.
Yeah.
If it is an RPG style, does anyone else think it's weird that your superhero would start off kind of like not knowing? What if you're Wolverine? It's like, sorry,
you can only scratch the cement. You can't cut through it.
Your claws aren't good enough yet. Your regeneration is not up enough yet. It's kind of weird. Sorry, Cyclops, your laser eyes they're not good enough yet.
Your sideburns aren't filled in enough yet. You can't.
So, is that sort of weird? Is it just sort of like when Batman forgets how to use everything?
This way. I see what you're saying, and it does make sense. But I don't want to be OP'd out of the gates.
That's right.
I would. There has to be a goal. And for me, being such a big Marvel fan, I will go out of my way to level up everyone. I will circle the wagon, so to speak, and I will play as Spider-Man. I will play as Cap. I'll play as Iron Man. I'll play as Falcon. Whoever, just to kind of keep it rolling through. I'm hoping, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. Captain America is one of my favorite heroes of all time. I know that Officer Friendly is really where that comes from. Having honor, having integrity, wearing my shield on my chest every day as a New York City police officer was an honor. I went out there and I never embarrassed myself or the department. And I know it sounds silly, but a lot of his beliefs, even though he's an imaginary character, I carry through in uniform because I wanted to be as good as him. That's how important Captain America was for me as a hero. And that's why I had the career that I had. which was a fantastic one. But you know what? We look. Let me just say this: we could talk about Marvel until the cows come home, but I kind of want to move on to something else that popped up that surprised me. That is going to be published by Square-Enix, and that's of course is Dying Light 2. And that's coming to E3. That's going to be on Square-Enix's stage. Surprisingly enough, I did not know that Techland. I know they would do their own thing, or they have another company do that, but they signed on with Square-Enix, and the two companies are teaming up to distribute the open world zombie game that looks really good. Now, if anyone played the original Dying Light, I think it took the gaming world by surprise on how good it actually was. You know, the parkour, the zombie fighting, the collecting, the weapons, the missions.
Nighttime.
If you want, yes,
that being such an important part.
Oh yes, absolutely. But you know what? I'm gonna just read what they had to say, and this comes directly from both Square-Enix and Techland. This partnership represents an incredible opportunity for both companies to bring a modern Dark Ages to audiences across America. Techland head of marketing Ed Lin said in a press release, "Our partnership kicks off this year at E3, and we're looking forward to a great campaign that showcases the fan favorite Dying Light DNA in an expansive and savage world of the infected." Now, I'm going to go to Shady first on this. You know, you are a zombie fan. I don't know if you enjoyed Techland's zombie romp as much as I did, but going out at night was terrifying. And I think that, you know, the way that they're going to have factions like they had in the other one, this looks to be twice as big, maybe 3 times as big as the other one. What do you think about this partnership? But more specifically, are you excited to see Dying Light 2 at E3?
Oh yeah, I'm super hyped to see this game. Who produced it last time or published it last time? Sorry, was it Warner Brothers?
Yes, it might have been. I don't remember the actual. I'm not sure. If someone in the chat actually knows, just throw it in there. I'll give you a big shout out. But I don't remember who did it. It wasn't a big company.
Techland?
Is Warner Bros.
Or Warner Brothers.
Warner
Okay,
Bros. Published it. So I thought they would have totally had it this time as well. So it totally is interesting to hear that it's Square-Enix that's publishing it. Yeah. I don't think it's going to change anything with the game. What we saw last year blew my mind. Like the scale that they have upgraded this game is huge. Every single choice they're claiming has massive consequences. I believe the example they gave was there was a gang that was controlling the clean water supply for this city block or something like that. And you could go and take the gang out and bring the water to the people, and that like made the rooftops all green, and you had access to different perks and the people that could help you in stores and stuff like that. Or you could work with that gang and end up helping them run the water racket, and that completely changed just that one aspect. And they went on to say that there was hundreds of decisions that had just as deep kind of ramifications. So I'm insanely excited to see if they can deliver on that aspect, because that makes it sound like everyone's playthrough will be truly unique. And I love when I talk to my friends about what I'm gaming and I'm either not spoiling the story, quote unquote, for them, or what I'm talking about is just so different from what they've experienced that they're as excited to hear about it. Kind of like when I'm excited to hear about what they have to say. We're not treading the same ground, really, is what I'm trying to get at. So I really like that. And this game looks like it's going to deliver a lot. I really did like the series, like the zombies, the kicking guys into the spiked walls. I was addicted to it. I would like big time. I would try and clear out the area of zombies, kind of like what I would do in Dead Island, but that's not possible really in this one. They were just infinite, man, which was cool because you always had to be on the run. The parkour was absolutely top notch. I thought the melee was a little bit light. All you did was push the right trigger and just swing, and it was the same swing, or you could do a heavy. Whereas in Dead Island, in the options, you could make it analog attacks, and you would actually move your right stick. Like you'd hold it left and then swing it to the right, and your guy would swing that way. Or if you wanted to do an uppercut, you would hold your stick down, then push it up. And it was very dynamic. As I was killing the zombies, I just felt way more involved in what I was doing as opposed to just clicking a button over them until they died. So I thought they were going to bring that mechanic over, and it didn't happen. So I was sort of bummed on that. But the game was brilliant. The new one looks way better and so much more expanded.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
gonna
can't
be
wait for
huge,
that too.
dude. You're gonna be.
Yeah,
This is one of those games you're gonna be playing 6 months after it launches.
absolutely. I would like to see the co-op be expanded to 4. I believe it was only 2 in the last game.
Yeah. Yes. I believe it was only two. I mean, listen. If they're going to expand the game size, obviously it's going to be running. Everything is going to probably be doubled. I would not be surprised if they offered imagine 4 players. How amazing that would be.
It would be
And
wicked, but I wonder with all these choices we're making, how the co-op would work. Like if I were to join your game, Boom, am I just
Master Chief.
taking? I'm kind of taking part in his story and his decisions,
I
and then
think
when I go back,
that's probably how it would work. Where
yeah,
my story wouldn't affect your story.
yeah. So everyone's just sort of unique, and I know that's a bummer for some people because they want to play through the game once, not 2 times or 3 times or 4 times to get through it on their own. So if I'm playing your story the whole time and I'm not getting certain achievements or something like that, then you'd have to play it again. I like kind of like what State of Decay 2 did, where your world when I was playing multiplayer was what we were in, and then when I went back to my world, it was my world again. So a lot of people felt that their time was quote unquote being wasted. I'm
I
not
mean,
one of those
that's
people, but I do understand where some people can come off feeling that way.
Yeah, you know what? You know why it has to be like that? Because what if you make a decision that I don't like?
That's
are we
right,
are we gonna
exactly.
fight with each other like live on the air? Like, God damn it, how dare you? You know, I didn't want you to. I wanted to get the money. You know, and you're being a nice guy. You're a jerk.
Exactly. So like
It would be
I got some
a
questions too.
nightmare.
I've got a few questions on the game's implementation, but it looks very ambitious, and I like Techland, and they really delivered on the last game, so I don't doubt that they're going to do what they say this one. I'm hyped.
Yes, I'm very excited, and you know, Enrique, I want to get your take on this because I actually don't know if you're a big zombie fan, but this game is going to be expansive. It's first of all, like I said, I know I've read that it's at least twice the size of the original one, and the original game was massive, especially when you talk about the implementation of vehicles and with all the DLC that came. The game was huge. This is going to be one of those games that people are going to play. And thankfully, if you walk away, nothing is going to be happening in the world that you're going to forget. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be so good, you're not going to want to walk away. What are your expectations for, first of all, this partnership that came out of nowhere, but more importantly, the game itself?
Truth be told, I did not play the first Dying Light. But I will say that everything that Shady mentioned in terms of what they're trying to accomplish, that large open world, the ability to where players have choices to make during the story, how that impacts the gameplay and everything. That all sounds interesting to me. And I didn't play the first one, so I can't really talk too much about the gameplay or anything like that. But I do remember seeing the trailer, and the game looks incredible. And the fact that Square-Enix is helping with this game or publishing this game is interesting, because a game with its focus on, I think, an open world RPG. I think potentially maybe the game's in good hands, and I think that I think obviously if you're a fan of Dying Light, you're probably going to enjoy this game. And some of the new things that they've added in terms of gameplay, but I don't know if I'm going to pick up this game. Boom. Like I said, I'm not like a huge zombie fan. Although I have a love for Resident Evil. I don't know, man. The co-op sounds pretty interesting, multiplayer, but I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be something I pick up. It's probably one of the situations where I'm going to wait to see what you guys think before making a decision. Although I will say, Shady sold me on the game. Like when he started talking about it, I did a quick Google search, started looking at more news related stuff on Dying Light 2. I was like, okay, this definitely sounds interesting. When he talked about like fighting, was it mercenaries you mentioned, or
yeah, well, they're like
faction.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds interesting. Like, so I like that you're not just fighting zombies per se. Like there's other survival elements that aren't zombie focused.
Like they said in Walking Dead, fear the living.
Yeah, no, exactly, and I love that because I feel like it adds maybe another element. I feel like sometimes with zombie stuff, like it just can't be like, it's gotta have like some depth to it, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like sometimes with like even like zombie movies or television shows, it's like it's just like zombies for the sake of having zombies. There isn't any depth to it. And I feel like that this game maybe potentially has that with warring factions or fearing the living, that it adds another element to the game.
Oh, it does. And
outside of
even I
zombies.
forgot to mention that at night, man, it is a different game at night.
Oh my
As
God,
super
I would
zombies
not go
come
out at
out.
night, dude. I'm
Oh,
dead
it's
serious.
insane. They are chasing you down. They got crazy powers. And one mechanic that I loved is it's a first person only game. So when you're running forward and you're being chased, you want to look behind you to see like how close is this sucker, right? And there was actually a button that you could press where just your character's head would turn around and the game had like a slowdown mechanic almost.
Just so you can see how many people are chasing you.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like sometimes you'd be like, how close is you turn? And his face was right there. Your whole screen is just right at you. And you're still running forward full tilt. But it was such a wicked mechanic and it was really well implemented.
Awesome.
That I want to see that come back and see it in just more first person games. This quick head turn backwards to see what the hell's going on back there. I loved it.
No, that's awesome. I don't think of any of the zombie games I've played. I've experienced that kind of mechanic. But you said with the zombies, like, do the zombies have? You said like there's like a super zombie or something. I think.
Yeah, it's like a different type of zombie who come out at night. Yeah, there's multiple different ones in the game already, and then at night the crazy ones come out, and they are just nuts. They're relentless, they're fast, and they
run at you. They climb, and as you know, like you sometimes like during the day you can climb up onto a roof and be like, okay, I could take a breather. Let me look in this box. No, at night when you go out, they are relentless. It's terrifying. Like I seriously only went out at night a couple of times, and I'm like, you know what? There's no reason. I'm just gonna sleep on this cot till the sunshine, and then I'll go do this mission.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? But when you said Fear the Living, there was this Netflix show, a zombie show that just came out recently, and I forget the name. Maybe the Long Summer or something.
Black Sunday
or Black was it? Is that what it is?
I think it was Black Summer. I think,
but Black Summer, yes, that's what. That was fantastic.
That was great because it added that other element of like, hey, you can't trust like even the living because they're trying to survive. They're going to do things, that potentially end your life so that they can survive. And it's that's fascinating to have that element in a game other than just zombies. And I think I was reading that this version of the game, the zombies are not around during the day, only at night. So I guess that's a change of pace from the first one. Is that because it sounds like the first one there were zombies during the day too?
They're a little bit more Shambler-esque, your typical type zombies that you could run away from or climb up onto just even a car roof and you'd be safe, but they would swarm you. But they could overwhelm you. The game is definitely worth picking up. You could probably grab it for cheap now. But
you could probably get like the Game of the Year edition for like $10 or $15.
Yeah,
I think it's really well worth it.
I might have to pick this up then to try this out. It sounds very interesting.
Now that you're picking it up now, it's also, you got to give them props. They supported that game for well over a year.
Oh, for years, dude. For years. 2 years after it's released, they kept supporting it. They kept upgrading the graphics. They kept with the DLC. The Game of the Year edition is probably worth $200. You could probably pick it up for like $15.
I know on the PC there's actually a battle royale mode in the game as well. I think it's like 20 player or 10 player, but to have a battle royale in that with the zombies running around as well, very cool. It's a unique take on that battle royale mode. I'd like to check it out. I hope that part comes to console.
How have I been sleeping on this game?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like you guys were like, it sounds like seriously, it sounds like what you guys are describing. It sounds pretty awesome, and I'm like, how did I not ever play this game?
Oh, listen,
you know what? There's so many games you definitely can miss it. But listen, before we move on to the next topic, Tempest, I want to get your opinion on the cult classic that was known as Dying Light. 2 is probably going to release this year. I mean, again, I don't know for sure, but we're definitely going to get a release date in a couple of days at E3. What is your excitement levels for this big open world zombie romp?
The first one was so good. I'm just excited to see how it does evolve, see what they can change, see how much better they can get it running. I mean, the first game, you go back and play it, it actually looks pretty stinking good. It really does. So seeing how they can improve on that. And am I the only one that's still trying to get used to Square-Enix publishing these kinds of games?
Like when already hear the name, it
is. I mean, they did Hitman, and then the biggest one for me, was years ago now, is when they started publishing Tomb Raider. I was like, what the heck? I just, I'm still trying to get used to it. So
that was when they bought Eidos. They actually own that, so they started making some of the Americanized games. But it is weird to see Square-Enix,
isn't it?
So Japanese RPG from the history of gaming to doing these types of IP. I agree.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but no, the game looks good. I played through the first one. I think gameplay wise, it was phenomenal. The only thing that was difficult for me was caring. It sounds weird, but you know, sometimes when you're trying to go through a narrative, like maybe this one, I know they're probably not going to do it. It's all going to be first person the whole way through, but maybe put like a Mass Effect style conversation in there, or something, just something to make me care like a little bit more, you know. I don't know. That was probably my only issue with the first one was just honestly caring about like the narrative or the characters, yada yada.
Yeah, the guys you're talking to, a lot of them were fetch questy kind of.
Yeah, it was.
Your
Yeah.
typical NPC. I need you to go and get my water. I left you. Like, okay, but that's
Yeah.
not why I'm playing a zombie apocalypse game. Was the narrative? But I understand totally what you mean.
Yeah, and if this one was supported so well, the first one, you know, like we said, well over a year. Look at the support that some of the other Square-Enix games have got. They allow them to continue making content for their games, so that only bodes well for the longevity of Dying Light 2. So, no, I'm pretty excited for it. It's they're definitely making a lot of changes, so I think it'll be one to look out for sure.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. And you know what? To round out the Square Enix topic, we're going to talk for a second about Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And listen, there's no doubt, aside from Resident Evil 2, which was remade, and it was a masterpiece, no doubt about that. Final Fantasy VII's remake is probably the most highly anticipated remake in a very long time. However, it's going to look and play a lot different than what we played in 1997. That's how long ago it was. The game will follow, of course. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. The game is going to follow a more modern design, featuring a third-person camera and real-time combat, updated character designs, ride the line between realistic and stylized art. And though most of the interesting detail comes about the remake comes that it's going to be multiple games. And obviously, since Final Fantasy VII's remake reveal from 2015, we haven't seen much. Now, we've gotten a few trailers. Obviously, the state of play showed a significant amount of coverage, even in that short little 10-minute thing that Sony did, but it was enough to get me super stoked. Shady, I want to go to you immediately on this because I know that you're a fan of this game. Now, we've talked a couple of breakfasts with Booms ago about how this game could possibly cost $180 over the course of 3 releases. And if the game is, 30, 40 hours per disc, let's just say, or per digital download, I don't mind, spending $180 over the course of 3 or 4 years to get 100 plus hours worth of gameplay, simply because the game is going to be amazing. What are your expectations for what Square is going to show at this year's E3 though?
I'm not sure. I think they're going to have to show more of what they already have. I hope they flesh out what you can do in that beginning city there. I forgot what the Midgard, not Midgard.
What is it called? I have it here. Let me just.
It's been so long since I played Final Fantasy VII. But the first city that you start off in, like you kind of just blaze through it in the actual game. You're not doing much in there. So I've heard that the first game is going to heavily be in that city. So they're going to have to massively expand everything in this game.
Yeah,
right?
you're going to have to do more than the power reactor mission.
Yeah, exactly. And then you kind of fight that scorpion boss at the end. You ride your bike and then you're out of there. And that's that. And this game, like Final Fantasy VII, I absolutely adore it. My memory of the game really, really sits on the duel back and forth between Sephiroth and Cloud. And the game is just so much more than that. And I find even the media tends to do that as well. For years and years, they push those two characters. And they are like main characters. But Sephiroth actually isn't in the game as much as I remembered technically, or even a lot of people I think do. So I'd like to see what they're going to make these games truly about if they're expanding them into huge 40-hour plus individual games, and there'll be 3 of them. So like there was a lot of the big theme was like corporations killing the planet for profit, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's a lot of other things that they can touch on and talk about that I think for some people like me, that without really looking into it again and kind of being like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part of the game. I'm going to be like, where the hell is Sephiroth? And how come I'm not bringing the pain to him for the entire time, chasing him down constantly? He's on the run, because that really wasn't the main narrative for the whole game. There was just so much more. So I'm excited to see what they can bring on the expanded front. The game looks gorgeous. I like how it's not turn-based like the old school anymore. I think that's a dated mechanic. I like how it's open now. I'm really excited to see what the summons are going to look like, stuff like that.
Yes.
I don't think that the $180 price tag for the whole package, when it's finally all out, is too much. It's the same as like Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3,
Yeah, I agree.
or
I agree.
Uncharted
as
1,
long as
2, and
there's enough
3.
gameplay in
That's
between
right.
releases, you talk because obviously with a Square-Enix release, you could probably sink 100 hours into one of their RPGs. So let's say, for instance, that this winds up being a 60-hour romp per disc. You're talking about $1 per hour, and for what you're going to get with Square, it would be well worth its price.
You do. You get the $1 per gameplay value there. But I think just even having the story split into that, like some people are like, all of a sudden I have to pay $180 to experience a story that in the past you got for your $60. But I think it's just, we already have stories today, like those examples I gave with Gears or Halo or Uncharted's, where they're telling a big story over 3 games. Destiny is telling a story over 2 games now, with a third coming.
Right.
We're already accustomed to doing this, and we have no problem. But because this was once one game, now chopped into 3, I think that's where the weird part that comes in, where I'm all of a sudden like, hey, wait a minute, you're charging me triple. But they're giving you so much more game here. I'm excited to see what it is. I hope it's on Xbox stage as well, so we can finally put these exclusive rumors to rest. If it's exclusive in any way, it's going to be timed. Like I think they've already come out in certain interviews and said that it's a multi-plat, but
it's a multi. That's why when Game Rant ran that story the other day, I was a little perplexed, because I think everybody in the chat, as well as everybody on the panel, heard this months ago. I would say even a year ago, that it's a multi-plat game that's releasing on everything at the same time.
That's just it. Like, I think the people in the know are aware, but the amount of people I see that either just refuse to believe it or are ignorant to the fact, I think that E3 is a perfect place to really, make it obvious as to where this game is going.
Well, I mean, if the Xbox stage, they win E3, right? Because I think that happened in 2015.
What do you call it? A lot of Final Fantasy games have been hitting Xbox over the last year or so, like almost all of them. So there's that, and it's within Square Enix's best interest to let the fans over on this side of the fence know that they can get hyped for this game too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I just want to throw this out there. If you're a Sony person, that's great. It's a great console, great marketing, great first party games. But you know what? At the end of the day, the 80+ million players, because it's not, they sold 100 million consoles. It's not 100 million players. That's not, in fact, I bought 6 myself, 4 myself. My brother bought 5. I know a friend of mine that bought 6. So people, it doesn't pan out with the numbers, but there's still, regardless of that number, the Xbox community does count. I know some people think otherwise, but it does count, because there are 45 million consoles sold. Now, whether that's 40 million, 45 million players, I couldn't tell you. I would imagine it's less, but there's still millions of players that would go out and buy this. So, of course, in this video game world that we like to talk about on a weekly basis, it is a business. But Enrique, I want to get to you next on this. Final Fantasy VII is going to be huge. It's probably one of the biggest games Square Enix will ever put out, in my opinion. And I think we're going to see, all I want from this E3 is to see one of the summons. Now, but we're not going to get Knights of the Round, because that's one of my favorites. And that is that's like an hour worth of just watching the screen. It's so big. I want to see one of the summons done the way Square Enix knows how to do these things. For you as a gamer, are you excited for Final Fantasy VII?
Yes, absolutely. It might be my favorite Final Fantasy game ever. Right up there with 6.
Strong.
And yeah, I mean, I was by the way, Sephiroth has nothing on Kefka, but I was, with the $180 price tag, whatever it was, came out, I was kind of scratching my head a little bit, and I was concerned. I'm like thinking, I don't mind paying that, but it's got to have content. It just can't be, we're going to charge people, X amount of dollars because, we know that we're going to tap into the nostalgia of players. And we know that this is a storied game for a lot of people, and we're going to cash in on that. I hope that's not the case. If there's gameplay there, I don't have an issue. Content, I don't have an issue with paying that amount. I hope there's a nice collector's edition for the game.
Oh yeah, me too. You know how I feel about those.
Yes, Boom. I'm usually not big on collector's editions, but I will definitely pick that up. And so, yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see, how this game's gonna look. Ever since they announced it, geez, how many years ago was it now?
Well, the first announcement was 2015.
Yeah, so we're 4 years into it now, and ever since that announcement, I was like, yes, they're remaking it, and I've gone back and played the original, and it doesn't hold up as well as some other games, but I can't wait for it, man. I'm super excited. I actually have Air's theme on my PlayStation 4 dashboard.
Strong.
Yeah, every time I log on, that theme is playing, and there's I have Cloud, and he's got his broadsword to his back's turned, and you see his broadsword. So I'm hyped, man. I can't wait. And I think the one thing I'm really excited for is for people who aren't as old as us, Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
With Gary's, I was in my 20s when that game came out, which is nuts. I'm really excited for the people who never got to play this game.
Yes,
now
I
they
agree.
have the opportunity to play
agree.
it. And I think that's really, really cool, because it's one of those games that I think it's one of those games that put the PlayStation console on the map.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that was one of those PS1 games, along with like Metal Gear Solid, right? Along with
Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil
2, yep.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2. Of course, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Those are like the gems in the crown of the PlayStation 1 era. I'm sure there's hundreds of titles that good, but those particular four have they transcend graphics of because of what the stories that they told. But Tempest, I want to get your final opinion on this. Final Fantasy VII, it's going to be a big game. It, like I said earlier, it's one of their biggest games they've ever developed. It's probably cost them millions upon millions of dollars. But I think they're going to see that in a return to them forthwith the minute the game comes out. I think it's going to sell very well on all three platforms, meaning the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. I believe it's coming to the PC. And it makes sense business-wise. But for you, what are you expecting to see at this E3?
Probably like the kind of thing that we saw with Kingdom Hearts 3 last year. A lot of people that pay attention to this stuff knew it was coming to the Xbox, but a lot of people didn't seem to care or just didn't believe it, whatever. Well, all of a sudden they showed it on E3 and it was like, whoa, Kingdom Hearts on Xbox, holy crap. Enrique had a fantastic point, though. I mean, ever since my wife has known me, she's never played Final Fantasy. She's always, or at least Final Fantasy VII. She's always wanted to play it, but every time she started, she couldn't get past the graphics, and I can't really blame her. You just can't. It's like a bunch of Lego blocks talking to each other.
It's pretty bad. It is.
Yeah, it really is. So the fact that she'll get to play it, as long as it's not watered down and they keep the same dialogue and they just, keep the source material there and just add to it. If they do that, this is going to be an extremely amazing treat for anybody that hasn't played it before. They can finally realize why us veterans of Final Fantasy VII won't shut up about it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, there's a ton to look forward to. As far as what we'll see, it'll probably just be a 2, maybe if we're extremely fortunate, a 3-minute trailer or something like that. I hope it's on Xbox's stage, because I mean, even back in 2015, it said first on PlayStation. They wouldn't have said first on if it wasn't planning to come other places, and that was way back in 2015.
Yeah, obviously the wording was a little, obviously they got a little S for that, and like I said, it's been confirmed that it's coming to all platforms. Yeah. I don't think there's any kind of, I mean, they may have an exclusive hat, what I'm saying, or an exclusive broadsword or something, but it's coming out.
According to PlayStation, if you just pay attention to their marketing, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a Sony PlayStation exclusive.
Yes, yeah. Same thing with Destiny. They like I said, they're the masters of marketing. Yeah, and they make you think, or at least the unaware or the casual, game purchaser. They make you think that they're misleading marketing. I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from what they've done, but their marketing is at times a little bit pushing the boundaries of false advertisement. You know,
they're skirting that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's definitely walking a fine line, but
but what I want to see is I want to see my girl Tifa, and I want to see other areas other than Midgar. Midgar looks awesome. It's a very unique looking place, but there's other areas.
So many other
Final Fantasy VII, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to see something outside of that. You show me that, and I'll be grinning from ear to ear. Actually, I'll probably be jumping up in the air, freaking out, punching stuff. But
yeah,
did no one else rename the characters when they played it? I like renamed all the characters.
Katie,
right?
Right,
Katie. That's right. The girl that I had a crush on when she died. I was just going no. But luckily, my actual real girlfriend at the time, I feel bad now. She was still alive. It was the other one there. I forgot her name, her actual name. I just called her Sarah. So she lived. It was the one with the little crop top there. Yes. She came by and she kicked some ass. I'm like, that's all right. The one that I kind of like, she died. But it was devastating, man. It was devastating. I like that when you can do that in games. You name them your friends. It's weird, but then when they die or something happens, you're just like, oh damn.
I feel devastated. Like I shouldn't have named.
You apologize to your friend when you see him. It's like, Kevin, I'm sorry, man. I let you down. You died, and they're just like, what?
What?
What are you talking about? Well, listen, this has been great. Of course, obviously, we're 50 minutes into it. I'm hoping we can bang this out in 2 hours because we do have a lot of content. I want to talk about of the next developer that's going to be there in a big way. And of course, Ubisoft, which I have already determined as the developer of this generation, and they continue to improve with every release. You know, first, we're going to be talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And obviously, this is a follow-up to 2017's Ghost Recon Wildland. And this time around, the antagonist is starring the Punisher actor John Bernthal as the big bad. We saw the the gameplay trailer where the graphics it looks like him, man.
Looks just like him.
It just I thought it was him actually. They were doing like a real life movie. The game takes place in Aurora, which is of course a fictional Pacific location that houses the Skell Technology Corporation. That company specializes in drone tech with military applications. So the ghosts are sent in to investigate when communications cease. And of course, that is probably what's going to lead us into this story. The game is going to focus on a conflict similar to the paramilitary group called the Wolves, which of course the John Bernthal is the head of, who is also a former Ghost member, and places a greater emphasis on stealth and survival elements to outwit the competition. His name is that the Wolves are led by Cole D. Walker, and of course, that, like I just said, that John Bernthal is going to play that. First of all, I don't know about you guys, I absolutely loved Wildlands. I know it's not your traditional, in air quotes, Ghost Recon that a lot of people wanted. Like people wanted. The Afghanistan, overtones where, you had your four guys and you were, using all these different gadgets. I really liked the drug cartel theme. And I like the open worldness of it. The support that Ubisoft showed that game. You had obviously Sam Fisher show up there. You had Predator Mission show up there. They just had the prequel to this game show up there a couple of weeks ago. So they're constantly supporting this game. I'm excited to play this. I know a lot of people were hoping to go back to what Ghost Recon used to be. I'm happy that we're going to get this kind of paramilitary organization. Of course, Skell Technology is a big deal because all of the technology that the ghosts use are from this company. So them going to investigate why the communications have stopped is going to be a big deal for you, Shady. I know you're a big multiplayer kind of a guy, especially when you talk about co-op within a game. Hanging out with three of your buddies trying to take down the new big bad. Does this excite you with the new Ghost Recon?
Yes, it does a lot. Part of me is a bit of a bummed out that he's the bad guy and not someone that I can play as, because in that trailer, like for anyone that's seen The Punisher, There was the
Mhm.
trailer for this game, and he was like yelling like the Punisher, and it just going wild. I loved it, man. And I wish I could play
Yes,
as him so
yes.
I could just hear that crazy barbarian yell all the time going off. But that aside, this game seems to be bringing in some really cool new mechanics, like the wounded mechanic. You're taking some leg shots and you're limping all hardcore until you can kind of get to cover and heal up. Some people might not like that form of realism. I think it's really neat. And if they're bringing that into the versus modes that the game's going to have, that would be really cool, where you're shooting the actual other player and he has to, like, he's taking the shots and he's limping away, or maybe his arms don't work, his aim is down. They showed another mechanic where instead of just kind of injecting the guy with a needle, they actually had to pick up the wounded soldier and carry him to somewhere safe and stuff, which isn't all new, but it just looked like it was done really well in this game. And then I've also heard that there's like food mechanics, or you need to drink water and stuff. And a lot of people are freaking out. Like, this is a survival game. I've done a little bit of digging, and some people have said that it's not like you're going thirsty. You have a thirst meter and a hunger meter. It's not that. It's kind of like if you choose to drink a bottle of water and eat some rations before going into your altercation, you have like a bonus perk. You might get plus 10% to your steady aim, something like that. Like Monster Hunter kind of does it. You're not
like
going
that.
hungry.
I don't mind that at all.
But if you choose to cook certain foods, you get certain stat bonuses. And I think that's cool. It seems like it's adding something, not taking it away.
Different. It's something that's
Mm.
it's changing it up. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite things with the new Zelda was cooking. I
Yes,
sat there
I was
and I
about to say
freaking
that.
cooked for days, man, and I freaking
Get
love
different
that. So
perks,
if I
yeah.
could do that here, I'm going to be making some wicked fish stew. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, the game just looks really good. I'm excited to see what they have to offer. I like the co-op mechanics. I thought it was interesting how it's in a fictional state this time, because the last game was in Bolivia, and they took some heat for that from Bolivia. They were like,
Yes, they
"Hey,
did. Yeah, they got
what
a
are you
lot of
doing pointing fingers at us because we have drugs?" And I'm like, kind of like, I don't know, you do. You're known as a drug state kind of deal already. There's a lot there, and it's a fictional game for the end. My God, but they did take some heat for having it in a real world place, because when you're depicting kind of real world modern violence, I think that's why a lot of war games are either in the past or in the semi-future, is because it's a controversial thing. War is as nasty of a thing as human beings can ever take part in. It's not something that's kind of good at all. So to depict the modern settings as we actually have people living today going out and doing that type of thing, it's sort of rough and I don't know, a weird gray zone at best. So they tend to avoid it, I find, in a lot of these war depicted games are in the future where it's all made up, or they're in the past where it's in the past and seemingly more digestible as public. I don't know, but I think that's why they went with that fake state this time. I thought that was a
you know what?
myself.
Listen, you want the game to have, obviously no controversies, and that's tough. That's a tough line, line to walk. But at the same time, when you tell a fictional story, no one's going to come after you because you're saying that there's a paramilitary outfit that's have killed civilian scientists, and it's interesting that the people that Bolivia did complain, the government did make a big deal out of it, but you know what, they have massive drugs over there, folks. They're not lying.
They
so,
do. And that's the end of mine. But real quick, I wanted to hit up Midway 7 Monster with this super chat of $5, man. Thank you very much for that. Boom. He appreciates it. I know I appreciate when anyone supports the show.
Yeah,
he just says, my first crush was also named Katie. You wrote her name in Final Fantasy 2 so we could save her. Live the dream, Shady. Great show panel. Game on. I like that, man. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was doing that, man. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, listen, thanks for the super chat, dude. Every dollar that is donated to this show is greatly appreciated. I don't think I think I say that enough, but I want to say it again because some people take for granted the generosity of this community, and I am not one of those folks. I really do appreciate everything that is donated. It is, again, greatly appreciated. But I want to head over to you now, Enrique. Obviously, Ghost Recon is a storied franchise. And, I am going to say, and I will keep on reiterating this point, every time Ubisoft releases a newer title on an older franchise, they seem to get it. They understand where they dropped the ball. They love fan feedback, and they listen to the consumer. And I think we're going to get a lot of the things that people did not like in Wildlands taken out or refocused in this new title. What are your expectations for this, and are you excited to see where they take this franchise?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. To Shady's point, I wish I would have been able to play as the Punisher. With that screaming, that booming voice that he has. But yeah, here's the thing. I'm interested in the game. I don't know if I'll get around to playing it because I had Wildlands and I never played it. Like I may have played it like maybe 4 or 5 times.
Same here,
right?
I'm
And
with
actually,
you
I think
on
I only
that.
played it once on the Xbox One S, and it was just unbearable because of the frame rate issues and stuff. And then on the X, it was like, oh my god, it was like beautiful. It played so well. But that's my only issue with the game. Like, am I going to have time to play this game? I don't know, but I am excited, especially with some of the new mechanics, things that they added to the game that Shady mentioned. And I think that the one thing, and I think you said this, Boom, is that Ubi's really good at supporting their games. And they've done a good job of supporting Wildlands. So I don't expect any difference with this game. I think one of the new cool things about this game is that I think they're going to be focusing more on distinct, like different character classes that are like perks and abilities. But I also like that, you mentioned the food thing. Like, yeah, you can eat food or drink water. You can get like a perk before going into combat. I think that's cool. I think it just adds to like different layer to the gameplay, which I think is nice. I'm all for developers trying new things to kind of change up the pace, and I think that's great. I'm looking forward to that. But again, man, I just don't know whether or not I'm going to have time to play this game yet because there's so many games coming out. And I will say this: someone mentioned Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell.
Yeah, that was me.
Please,
yes. Well,
give us Splinter Cell, please.
We're actually gonna get around to that because I actually wound up adding that into one of the topics as well. We have some breaking news that happened late yesterday, but we'll get to that in a second.
And real quick, the whole Bolivia thing. To Shady's point, yeah, Bolivia, you guys are a big supplier of cocaine. I mean, that's not a secret. It's not a secret. I actually like that it took place in Bolivia. Look, my parents are from South America. My dad's from Colombia. So I actually enjoyed it. I love that the setting was in Bolivia because it felt more real. You know what I mean? It felt real, and I felt like a connection to the game because I was playing in Bolivia and I was trying to take out a cartel. I love that. I don't think I would have had the connection with the game had it been like in some fictional setting,
Absolutely. I think it's kind of ridiculous. Games are getting weird heat, whereas movies and books have no problem having anything go in any setting they want, real or not. It's all fiction, and that's that. But as soon as it's a video game, everyone seems to just be like, my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Pointing us and telling us that we have drugs here. Well, you do, for one. So.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, it's,
Exactly.
like who are you guys kidding? Like, everyone knows that. So, most people know that. But, it's funny, Shady, you mentioned that with books and games. I mean, and I think we're going to talk about this game later on, but the new Modern Warfare is getting some heat already.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later on when we get to the Activision part.
Yeah,
there's a lot of drama before the game even comes out. A lot of it's certain statements, but we'll get to that in a second. And Tempest, close this topic out. Well, this particular part of the Ubisoft topic out. Ghost people like to say where there's going to be lots of content to do in the game, but of course they're going to continue to support it. For you personally, someone that enjoys big world games, is this something you're going to pick up day one?
Yeah, because there's 3 reasons why you should be excited for this game. John Bernthal, and John Bernthal.
That's great.
Yeah. The first episode of the 2nd season of Punisher. It's funny, my wife and I do all the time, but the subtitles said "Hey," and all I heard was so that's how we get each other's attention sometimes.
That's great. That's
what we do. So I love that guy. It's awesome. He's going to be in the game. That's kind of what I missed from the first one. Just like we talked about the prior game, Dying Light. Sometimes I just don't care. Like in the first one, you'd have these it seems like they swapped them out, and sometimes they had the same stories from the other people. It's like it was like a rotating group of people that all have the same lives apparently. That would be your crew in the first Wildlands. So I'm hoping, even if they take the ability to strip me from being able to make a character, I don't care. Just give me something more interesting to sink my teeth into. That way, when some dude takes a bullet to the knee and I have to drag him off, I care about that dude.
Right.
The other guys in Wildlands, like, you took a bullet to the knee. Okay, let me just run far enough away, and I know you're going to respawn.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's great. That is a good point.
I hope they do that. They can. I've actually been playing Ghost Recon games for quite a while, since I've been pretty much a little kid. And they used to be very, very, very tactical, kind of hardcore shooters. What I enjoyed about those ones is it was hard to hit your target. It legitimately was. It was a more realistic take on, like, warfare. And on the flip side, your enemies didn't have pinpoint accuracy from 300 meters away shooting a pistol. So I mean, if they could take that same approach, make it a little bit more grounded and hardcore, I'd enjoy it. And right off the bat, seeing John Bernthal, I mean, him as a villain, I mean, I hope he doesn't have 2 minutes of screen time.
No, I think he's going to be well represented, to be honest.
I hope so. Because that got me. That was a smart move, man. That right there instantly made me feel a little bit better about the whole thing. Because just like Enrique, I got Wildlands. I liked the gameplay. It was a little bit arcadey for me for a Ghost Recon game, to be honest with you. But the biggest problem was just the caring about the people. I just did not care what I was doing. And on just a gameplay perspective alone, it being a little bit more arcadey, things of that nature, it was good, but to me, it wasn't great. So I'm really hoping this one makes some big improvements. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's going to be a great game nonetheless. I think, like I said, they've already started talking about improving on what didn't work, and if you look back to what they've done with the Division and the Assassin's Creed series, they listened to the fan base and they fixed what didn't work. Talking about Assassin's Creed, we're going to roll and segue right into what is supposedly going to be shown off in Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, which is I don't know about you guys personally. Origins was great. Odyssey was greater. I know that Zolker87, big fan of his, is in the chat. He's a big fan of Odyssey. And I think Ragnarok is going to step it up once again. The Norse mythology is a great setting, even though, of course, I think everybody will agree on this panel and in the chat, we need to get to Japan one time before I can no longer pick up a controller. So please, for the love of Joe, anyone from Ubisoft, I love your games. One, you can hire me as a community manager. That'd be a dream job for me. And secondly, let's get to Japan before these decrepit hands can't play any more games. But with that said, I digress. Michael Nursa, a concept artist at Ubisoft Milan, where this game is apparently being made, and he worked on Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, had posted several images on ArtStation that he got. He got everyone, of course, that are in the Assassin's Creed fan base talking. One image titled "Vikings Hell" is a horrifying portrayal of a lightning crackling out of out of a sky that's blood red, and he also had a few other pictures where it was Viking warriors in a ship with a triple serpent head. Also, he had another picture which had them like on a snow-covered battlefield. Now, I don't know. Again, I'll say this. I don't know about the chat. I don't know about the panel. I'm gonna get your opinion now. What I really, really enjoyed about God of War was the Norse mythology, and I think that bringing Assassin's Creed to the Norse mythology is genius, considering they had the Egyptian theme, and of course you had the 300 theme from the one that I put over 200 hours into Odyssey, and I'm still playing it because the DLC, they're still supporting it a year after the game came out. Shady, for you personally, again, we have not. This is not confirmed. We've been hearing the Norse mythology. We've heard the words Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, but I'm hoping that we get a confirmation at this E3 for you personally, as a person that enjoys story, that enjoys the world that you're in. Are you excited to see Assassin's Creed head to Norse mythology?
Yeah, if true, I'm super, super excited. Unlike you, I think they can take as much time as they want to get to Japan. I think that's almost like sort of the most tropey, obvious choice for them to take an Assassin's Creed, if you
Okay.
will. And I think the industry as a whole is starting to deliver those samurai and ninja type games as well. So it's not as if there's a giant vacuum of it. There are other games that are doing it. So I like the fact that we get to experience other type of locales that Assassin's Creed brings us that most games don't, like ancient Egypt and stuff like that. I love that part of it. So I'm not against a Japan game at all, but the Norse side of things really excites me. I didn't grow up a big Vikings guy. I kind of thought they were lame as a kid, actually. It was always the same pictures of the guys. They looked the same with the same boats. And I was just kind of like, not for me. But then I watched that Vikings TV show and I didn't realize kind of what was going down. I just didn't know about them. I was ignorant to it. And there's a lot of deep stuff. They like invade Britain and Europe and end up, basically getting onto the throne. They breed themselves into the royalty of that country, and still, like, their bloodline is there today. I think that's crazy. So I think that's really neat, and has basically an Assassin's Creed story all over it. One of these Vikings maybe has a piece of Eden, which is why they're able to do what they're able to do. I don't know. I think it's a really good setting. Vikings are hot now, not just because of God of War, but that's certainly brought it up on a lot of people's radar. And the last two Assassin's Creeds really embraced the mythology, where you're fighting like the three-headed dog Cerberus from hell, and you're fighting Medusa and the Minotaur and things like that. Like that's full blown there. So the Norse mythology aspect could be really cool with like Loki and Thor and all the other gods coming in and just mucking around with everything. So I'm really excited. I hope the rumor's true. We're not getting it this year if they're showing it. I think they said they're taking a year off.
Right, the year off. So we're not getting it
so it'd
this
be
year.
pretty
That's
early.
fine. I'm okay with that.
It'd be an early reveal, so I wouldn't expect like a huge in-depth anything. But if they were to tease it and it was Viking, I'd be hyped, man. I really do enjoy Assassin's Creed, and that's a cool setting.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. And Enrique, I want to go to you now. Of course, some of these bigger games you don't get to. Obviously, you have, family gets involved, life gets in the way. Sometimes you just can't sink 200 hours into Assassin's Creed. Honestly, like this retired dude over here. But for you personally, are you excited to see Assassin's Creed go in a radical direction like Norse mythology?
Yeah, man, I'm actually excited. I think it's cool that they're looking at the next Assassin's Creed taking place in Norse mythology. The mythology, look, the Greek mythology worked great. I think that was awesome. It actually, to me, that might be one of the best Assassin's Creed games that I've played in that franchise. And I think it's interesting. I haven't noticed this, but apparently there's a teaser poster in the Division 2.
There is.
That has some kind of historical figure holding on to what looks like the Apple of Eden.
Yes.
And the poster says Valhalla, which points to the Norse religion. And so they're saying that particular poster, and it's actually inside the Potomac Center mission, which in real life, that's not actually the Potomac Center. It's the what is it? It's the JFK, John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts or something in DC. But that poster's there, and they tease that in Division 2. So I think this is going to be cool, man. I hope that it's in fact takes place in Norse mythology. Like what Shady said, I think it'd be cool to kind of see what they do with some of the Norse gods like Loki and Thor. And yeah, man, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I don't know if I have time to play this game because I put in some time to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I haven't finished it. So it's
it's a big game. It is a big game, really, really ever expanding. And they just opened up Atlantis, which is
oh my god,
huge.
Yeah, I can't even. Yeah, I can't even wrap my mind around that, man. I can't. But no, I'm excited, and I'm glad they're taking that. It's not going to be a game that's rushed. I think you guys said that it's not coming out this year, but probably not for another year. I think that's great, man. Add that polish and shine on it and release a good game.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. I like that they're taking their time because obviously you look what they did with Origins. It was a masterpiece. Odyssey even
Really good.
better, and this
Mhm.
has the potential to be even bigger.
I just realized, sorry, that we got Black Flag at the very beginning, day one of this gen. There's a chance we could get this game day one of next gen as well. It's
Mm.
taking
it
a
is
year off, and it
possible.
comes out
Yes,
in the holiday, right?
we give an HD. Yeah, you never
I
know.
tell you what, if it's a launch game of next gen, it's a day. I'm definitely buying this game.
It's all
Yeah.
ray traced out, but in 60 frames,
Oh my
4K.
God.
Woo, baby!
Forget
I'm just
about
gonna
it.
stare at it and look at it.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yes.
incredible. Before I get to Tempest Sun's opinion on this, Errol Channer with the outstanding $2 super chat. Thank you for being here, Errol, and thank you for your generosity. It is greatly appreciated. Of course, Tempest, Ragnarok is, if in fact it is true, and I have a good feeling that it is. It's just there's too much evidence to say otherwise. For you personally, someone that enjoys the lore of the games that you're playing, are you excited to explore what they're going to do in this the next long running franchise of Assassin's Creed?
Dude, last year my number one game was Odyssey.
Yep, me
and
too.
through. It cracked my top 10. That game is beyond phenomenal. Dude, the amount of hype, excitement, and just like when I went to go fight the freaking Minotaur, you heard him roaring in the background. You're like,
Yes,
oh
you
my God,
did.
that thing looked menacing. You fought him, the Cyclops, dude. I want them to go all in. I don't care how ridiculous they have to bend the story so you just fight tons of mythical creatures or gods in this case. Like if I could backhand Thor in this game, that'd be phenomenal. That'd be
Backhand him.
Backhand,
Yeah.
jeez.
I challenge
So-
you.
so yeah, I want them to go all in. I'm extremely excited for this one. I didn't like Origins as much as I liked Odyssey, and I understand this is the Origins team, but I think it's for the most part, most everybody liked Odyssey more. So there's nothing stopping them from doing more what Odyssey did.
Yes, I agree. I think a
nothing-
lot of people agree with you that they're fighting these mythical creatures really added an element to the game that I think was missing.
Yeah. And one mechanic I would love for them to just straight up copy. You can call it copy. You can call it, I'll call it flattery because it was an amazing mechanic. If they could just add the climbing mechanic from Dragon's Dogma to Assassin's Creed, like when these big creatures are there, that'd be so stinking cool. I'd love it if they did that because they could make the creatures bigger and bigger and more feasible to fight them instead of just slashing at their ankles.
That would be
Oh
cool.
yeah, the patented ankle slash. I'm dying. My ankle has been cut too many times.
That's great. I love
He's
it.
in a major vein in my ankle.
Listen, ankles are no joke. My poor missus came out of work 2 weeks ago and just twisted her ankle on a cracked sidewalk. So trust me, ankles. They're down. Yeah, she's a little better now. She's still a little sprained, but
Yeah, ask
Yeah.
Achilles about ankles and heels. They'll take you out.
yeah, they well, you need them to walk. So, but yeah, this is good. You know what? I want to move on to the next topic. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because, unfortunately, it was when I write these shows, I write them in advance. I'm up at midnight 3 times a week writing because I want to put on the best show for, of course, the 151 people watching live, which is just bananas to me.
It's awesome.
And
It is.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to. I think it's going to be the space opera title that has such an expansive universe that this might be one of their biggest games. What we've seen so far looks insane. They just announced that it's not going to be at this year's E3 because it's not ready. And I'm okay with that because you want this game to succeed. It's been in development for a very, very long time. I just want to get because someone in the chat had talked about it, and I didn't want to pull this out and not talk about it because I think everyone's excited for this. And I'll start with Shady. We haven't seen much, and I really was expecting to see something this E3. So I am slightly disappointed, but I understand that they don't want to show it and ruin the chance of wowing everyone. So I'm okay with them kind of just walking away. For you, what are you expecting with Beyond Good and Evil 2 from what you've seen?
Oh man, from what I've seen, like the scale of what this game is pushing, the size is unlike anything I've ever seen in a game.
Yeah.
It's an actual solar system. everything is moving real time. The planets, the moons, everything's orbiting properly and stuff like that. The size of the cities on these planets that they've shown are like Coruscant from Star Wars, the city planet. It's so big. They'll have your little character that you're playing and they're walking them down the street, and then they fly them up to like the statues that are on top of some of these buildings. And these statues, like, you're as big as the thumbnail or the toenail of the big Buddha statue that they have, and it's just so big. You can get into your spaceship, and then that spaceship can dock into another ship. It's all real time. There's zero loading. The graphics look great. The combat was looking engaging. Like, I've been watching their live streams that they put out over the last year. There actually just was one today. It's over now. No one needs to leave the show. It's over. You're going to be watching a replay anyways. But once this show is over, go and check out their new live stream that they did this morning, because they're going to show some stuff in there. And I think that's maybe why they didn't go to E3, was they're not ready for that big E3 stage presence again. They teased it last year, and they've been showing some behind the scenes dev stuff. This game is heavily fueled by community support as well, like community artwork, community music, stuff like that, which I think is really, really, really cool. I know a lot of people in the past actually just started off making maps and like trials as an example and helping people online. And Ubisoft sees and recognizes some of these people, and they end up hiring them to work for them as an actual job. I think that's really neat that someone from the community ends up getting into the industry just because they were supporting some of these games that they loved on a creative way. So this is a way for some people to maybe get their foot in the door. I'm looking at you, maybe Graphic God. I want to see your work in this game. You got to be a space monkey, I think they're called. That'd be pretty neat, man. Really neat. But I'm hyped for this game. It's a bummer that it's not at E3, but like I said, there is something already coming out today, so we can watch that when we're all done here and see what's new. I am hyped. I think it's going to be a next-gen game, though, from what I've seen, because, man, the scale and the graphics and everything.
It's just going to be so big. It's going to have to be.
It reeks next-gen. And it also reminds me of Babylon. Reminds me of, I just forgot the name of that movie. It's The Fifth Element. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That trailer was just like, whoa, this is like Fifth Element. That city ripping around, all cool aliens and stuff like that. Neat genetics. You're like creating your own genetically altered soldiers and stuff like that. And you can go and recruit almost anyone out in the world onto your crew. Like, it's just so ambitious. And I'm not surprised it's Ubisoft that's doing it. I find they take a lot of risk and they push a lot of big, especially open world stuff. They go big when it comes to open world.
Yeah, they do. And obviously some of the games that they've done prior, obviously their scope and scale increases with each release. Rika, I want to get your opinion on this. Again, we haven't seen much, but they have been kind of giving us slight peeks behind the curtain. Every time I see something, I'm even more excited. For you, I mean, I know you're like me, probably just slightly disappointed, but I want to see it when it's ready. What are your thoughts on Beyond Good and Evil 2, and what are you expecting?
I'm expecting probably another good game. I mean, I thought the first one's to me was a cult classic. I know it didn't
ahead of its time, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Michael Ansel, the director behind the game. I mean, he basically, from what I remember, what he wrote was so massive that he expected the game to be a trilogy. And then when it didn't sell well, Ubi was kind of like poo-pooing the idea of the second iteration of the game. But I'm glad that they've come around, because it's, to me, as a fan of the game, it's long overdue. The original was a great game, and I think, like what you guys are saying, just the sheer scale of what this game is going to be, I definitely think it's a next generation game, and I'm super excited. I just, for me, take as long as you want with this game. I would rather them put a lot of shine and polish into this game and release it when it's ready to be released. I don't want to see it rushed. I hope hopefully Ubi is letting these guys take the time they need to kind of make a good game, because as I said, this game was intended to be a 3-part series, and so I want to see this version do well, and with the idea of maybe a part 3 coming out and kind of completing what he had in mind, what Michael Ansel had in mind when he worked on this project. So I'm super excited. It's one of my most look forward games of next console generation. So yeah, man, I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. I'm definitely hyped. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to definitely seeing more.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, I'm glad that even though we're not getting an official release, they are kind of putting out little teases to keep the fan base excited. Tempest, son, I want to get your opinion on this. Again, this is a big game. It's potentially going to be for the next generation simply because of the size and scope of what's going to entail to run this game. It could be an actual next gen only simply because of the size. For you, are you excited to see what Ubisoft puts together with this game?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. The first game was just very, very charming. The music,
Yes.
it was almost relaxing a lot of times, just taking pictures of all the animals and sending them in. It was just a great game, you know, through and through. When I saw the trailer for this one, though, such a tone shift. It kind of took me by surprise. You know, like the first one was a game I could have played with my kids sitting there, you know.
Yeah, well, it was very, very whimsical, very colorful.
Yeah,
the first game.
Yeah, this is different. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's it's very vulgar. I mean,
And that monkey has a foul mouth.
yeah, the monkey has a foul mouth. The monkey's also probably shacking up with the chick there at night. That's what it seems like. So I'm like, you know, it's a little weird. But they showed some footage last year at some point of them on the ship and the scale and saying it was just one world out of many. You know, I see stuff like that, and all I can think of for some reason, and I shouldn't think of, I should give them the benefit of the doubt because Ubisoft has been great, but I tend to think of like Star Citizen.
I know you were going to say that. Yeah. A lot of promises that haven't come to fruition. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly. So, you know, if they pull this off, great. It's probably going to be awesome. To me, if they try a little bit too hard and realize it's not working out, dude, I am totally cool with them being, you know what, let's just make it Beyond Good and Evil 2, bring Jade back and make another whimsical, you know, kind of like smooth sailing little adventure game. I'd be great.
I think Jade is still in it, or her family line is still in the game, I believe.
I think it's her mother, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. It's like someone in her family line is still involved, I think. Though.
Yeah, she looked a little vicious. You know, she's like Jade.
They are pirates, right?
Yeah, they are pirates, correct.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope the best. I really do like Ubisoft as a publisher. I know Boom calls them the publisher of the generation, and he wouldn't be wrong. I mean, we just gushed over Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they just continuously support their games. So even if it doesn't launch great, it probably will be great. You can count on it.
Yeah, well, they have a track record for a game. They don't give up on the game. Obviously, you know, you look at Rainbow Six Siege. You look at For Honor, you look at the Division 1. That when something doesn't work, they're disappointed, but they continue to go at it and make things right. And I have, yes, yeah. Well, that's what actually we're going to talk about next, real quick, before we jump out of this topic and move on to Bethesda, which has had a pretty good year so far. You know, of course, Fallout 76 notwithstanding. But you know, leaks happen all the time. Sometimes they're accidentally on purpose. Sometimes they're actually accidents. And something happened, was brought to our attention by Wario64 on Twitter, who sometimes does get his hands on some really good stuff. Now, normally during E3, GameStop has a lot of exclusive content where, you know, in collectibles that coincide with launches or you know, games that are not just launched but talked about at E3. And they had something up on their website that immediately was taken down, and we heard that Ubisoft got involved in this. And they had for pre-order, which were coming out in November of this year, Sam Fisher's goggles from Splinter Cell, and it said E3 2019 exclusive. And you know, they don't normally make these kind of mistakes, and when they talk about products that they're offering as E3 exclusives, it's because these games have been announced at the big show. Finally, now we've heard in the last couple of months, you know, that we're not working on a Splinter Cell. We have nothing to show, nothing to see here, folks. And then this launches, and immediately it's redacted and taken down like it didn't exist. You know, I'll leave this open to the panel. I have to go to individually. What were you guys' opinions about this? And did this ruin the surprise, or do you want to just finally get a damn Splinter Cell?
I mean, there's been so many rumors. Ubisoft themselves is putting Splinter Cell Easter eggs in their most recent games.
Yes.
So as much Boom as we might, hold these guys up as the dev of the generation, they might just be the biggest trolls of the generation if they don't deliver an actual Splinter Cell here. They really, man. Everyone has been begging for everyone. So many people have been really, really, really wanting a new series new game in that series. Ubisoft themselves is teasing it constantly. They got guys tweeting about it, taking it down. Like the teases they're too much now. If you're not going to do it, all right, you've had your fun. You've trolled us all. Call it a day, please. Or just deliver. It's one of those, crap or get off the pot already. I can't take it anymore. I just can't take it anymore. I hope it comes, though. I really, really do. Luckily, we don't have to wait long to find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else wouldn't like to add anything? Enrique, would you like to add anything?
I think Ubisoft, they are trolls. They're trolling us, and that's all that was. Because my understanding is that it was a troll. Like they were trolling us because there's been so much talk and rumors about the game being out there and being shown and whatever the case is, that they just kind of poke fun at everyone.
My God, the balls on these French Canadian bastards to be pulling that kind of a move.
So Indie Gamer in the chat wrote Ubi trolls.
Yeah, Ubi trolls. And I did hear they were working on a next version of the game that was
Randall Thor, a good friend of the show, actually knew someone that played it.
Yeah, that played it. And then they scrapped it. They said, no, we're done with it. We're not gonna move forward with the game. And they gotta stop trolling us. Like why put like Sam Fisher in a Ghost Recon mission in Bolivia, the cocaine capital of the world?
Apparently.
Yeah.
By the time this game actually gets announced, we're gonna find out that Bigfoot's real or something crazy like that.
I know, right? You're right. Loch Ness. Check out Loch Ness.
We have to find Bigfoot. He's wearing the Splinter Cell goggles.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be interesting. The head jumps up out of the water and all you see is the green dots. Great, I love it.
Sam Fisher's retired and Bigfoot is Splinter Cell.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
This is great. Well,
I would love to see, and I've said it earlier, I would love to see this game come back. I know that Ubi was disappointed in sales of the previous one, and just give the fans what they want, please. I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know how much money they're making off of Recon and Siege, but come on, just throw some bone. Give us,
one really important thing. The last one didn't do so great. You took out one really key opponent, and I know it wasn't their fault. You need Michael Ironside.
Yeah, that was a big. There was a contract dispute.
He was sick. I thought he was sick or something. No.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't Ubisoft's, fault. Yeah, I think he was sick. His health wasn't great at the time. But, dude, you can't fake that man's voice.
No, you can't.
Michael Ironside has to be Michael Ironside, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah, I would take the Punisher's voice as Sam Fisher, though. I would do that.
Oh, hey, John Blanco.
As long as he's grunting, yeah.
That'd be good too. But no, and he's also, he's getting a bit older. He's up there, so you got to use the man while he's still able.
Well, start taping his voice now. Start letting him read the script now.
Yeah,
God forbid an incident.
I mean, he's healthy now. I mean, I think
he's in good shape. Yeah, I saw him in an interview. He's actually doing very well.
Yeah, and I think he even said he would love to reprise the role of Sam Fisher.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that. He knows that. Ubisoft knows that. I'll put it to this way. I'm still gonna. This is like my 4th year in a row, and my God, I don't mind admitting I'm wrong, but at some point I got to stop banging my head against the wall. I'm calling for an ETH. I'm calling for it to be up on the Microsoft stage as some sort of a surprise announcement where everything goes black and all you see is the goggles and you hear his voice and everyone just completely erupts in cheer.
With that sound.
Where it turns on. I think if
Boom, we've been saying that for like the last 5 years, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm like, this is my 4th year. I'm going to get wrong. I know.
They turn the lights back on, and half the audience we need to be resuscitated.
Yeah, exactly. And bring out the AED machines, man, to shock everybody into waking up. But
built into the chair, everyone just gets a jolt. Yeah, you're back.
You know how last year Phil was in the middle of talking, and then the feed got hacked by Cyberpunk.
right.
Would it be cool if the lights just shut off and then like the main screen, just the 3 little green dots?
Yeah, exactly.
Pop up,
That's
like,
that's one of
"Ah!"
those
Or
genre defining E3
even better, but
moments.
what if they tell you to reach under your seats and the lights go off? You put on these these goggles and they're night vision, and you see like agents repelling from the ceiling upside down.
That would be mammoth.
Little over the top, but, you know.
I think we should hire you to do one of their skits for E3, dude. I like what you're talking about.
That or on stage, the flute guy comes out, starts
Oh,
playing
no,
the
no,
flute,
please,
and then
no
somebody
flute guy,
comes up
baby.
behind him and chokeholds him out of there.
Tactically takes him out with the goggles. I love it.
Well, listen, you know what? This again, Ubisoft's a company that we could really spend a significant amount of time on, but because we have so many games to cover, I'm going to move on to the next topic, and we're going to be talking about Bethesda. And obviously, they've had a pretty good, game that came out. I don't know, it didn't get really. It got beat up with the reviews. Didn't like the way it was handled personally. Rage 2, I thought was magnificent. I put 10 days worth of play into that game. 10 days.
Man. Holy.
And I'm still playing it. I'm like with these Ubisoft. I mean, with these games like Ubisoft, this game from Bethesda was of course published by Bethesda, made by ID Software. Gives you a lot of choice to do things on the screen. So I enjoyed it. But what we're going to be talking about is, I think, one of the biggest games to release, or hopefully release, in 2019. That's Doom Eternal. The follow-up to 2016's Game of the Year for most people. It looks like they're going to up the ante. And, Doom Eternal continues directly after the events of the first game. And it forces... basically, the forces of hell have invaded Earth. And it's up, of course, to the Doom Slayer to put the boot down on their throats. Shady, I know you're a gore. You enjoy gore. You love big guns. You love big action. Doom Eternal is going to triple what you like in a game. How excited are you to see what Bethesda is going to show at their conference?
I'm beyond excited. That's not even a word that doesn't work. Boom, ecstatic, on the brink of a heart attack with hype. Doom is my bag. If there ever was a bag to be had that is so Shady's, that's it. I love Doom. I love id Software. That company is directly responsible for making me the shooter fan that I am today. I really, really loved the last Doom. It was so close to being a perfect game. I just wish it had cooperative in the campaign. That's about it. This new one looks better in every way. You've got different powers on your suits. He's like shooting rockets apparently out of his suit. He's got that sweet huge blade that's coming out for the.
He also has a grappling hook.
But the grappling hook that's on the bottom of the shotgun, like Doom, when it has those brutal kills, when the guy's wounded and he's kind of staggered, you can get in there and you melee him, and he does this awesome kill animation. I have been screaming into the ether of nothing since Halo 1, where I wanted to see that in Halo. I want to have an elite days, and I want to run up there and I want to grab him and just do like a huge Master Chief superplex on this guy. Just have wicked kill animations, and Doom brought it. And I loved it, man. That is one of the most amazing mechanics in a shooter game for me, is the ability to get in there. And it just works in Doom, of course, because of the setting and who you are, the Doom guy. You're just tearing these guys apart. The look that you see for a split second on the demons' faces is sheer terror. They are scared of you as the player because you're just a relentless killing machine. And it's fantastic. This new game looks like it's bringing everything that I want. I like the invasion mechanic, where someone else can invade your campaign game if you have that option turned on. And all of a sudden, they're an imp running around with the ability and agility and mechanics of like a human player. It's like, what is with this imp? He's out of control. It's a human guy. I think that's cool. Or maybe a mancubus, any of that stuff. That's a neat mechanic to have. I hope they bring co-op this time. They said that there was more multiplayer stuff to reveal. Like, just their wording led me to believe that they're going to have co-op this time. So I'm insanely hyped. If it launches this year, it's my most hyped game to come out this year. That is, unless Cyberpunk pulls a big surprise and actually does launch this year, then Doom is my number 2, but it is so close to being my number 1, even with Cyberpunk. It's just I can't get enough of this series. I love it. It's unapologetically violent. You are correct, Boom. I love a good Gorno, as I love to call them. I get right into it, man. I gross out the people that watch me play on the frequent. I enjoy doing it. It's great, man. And Doom, it brings it. So I am so hyped to see more of that game.
Before I move on to, I don't know if this is meant as a joke, but H2O Gotti in the chat. First, he asked me to, in all lower cases, to bring proof that I played Rage for 10 days. And then, of course, he followed that with all caps, meaning he's obviously yelling. First of all, MrBooMStickXL on Xbox Live. I think you can pull up all of my stats. My gamer score is over 260,000. I think I can say I honestly play enough games. If you don't believe me, hey, dude, I don't know what to say, my brother. I'll take a picture and post it on Twitter for you if that's going to satisfy your yelling fit. But anyway, I want to move on to, of course, Enrique. In Doom is going to be a good game. It's going to be a great game, but I think it's going to certainly be in that game of the year talk, simply because obviously Doom, the reboot of the what we got in 2016 was in fact amazing. This is they're, like I said, they're upping the ante times 10. For you, are you excited to see what they're going to show in a couple of days?
Yeah, man, Doom was badass. I mean, so I'm really excited. And plus, look, it's been a little bit of a rough year or so for Bethesda. So I kind of want to see a win for them, especially after Todd Howard's interesting comments about Fallout 76 recently. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. It's like I think Shady said, it's unapologetic, it's over the top, it's fun, it's great action. And yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I think the shotgun with the grappling hook is pretty badass.
Yeah, you can actually get to higher places. You can you can shotgun or grappling hook one of the bad guys, bring them towards you. Hopefully, it's like a Scorpion Mortal Kombat kind of a finisher, right?
Yep. And I like how they're bringing the fight to Earth too. That's actually pretty cool. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think, like I said, Bethesda needs a win. I think this is gonna be a big win for them. And now the question for me again is, am I going to have time to play it? I'm telling you guys, it's hard. Like, we always talk about like the backlog. My backlog is real.
It is. It's real for everyone, dude. It is a real thing. It really is.
It's so. But yeah, we'll see, man. I definitely looking forward to it, man.
Well, listen, of course, Tempest Son, I'm going to go to you next on this. Doom is going to be a big game. It's already. I don't know what I've seen the trailer, and we've seen, we haven't seen much. We obviously saw at the Stadia reveal where they showed a little bit of it. I want to see this. And thankfully, I'm actually unbelievably lucky enough to get a ticket to go into Bethesda's show. And I'm going to actually see it in person. I'm hoping to grab some video, put it up on the channel, give you guys my opinions on it. For you, how excited are you for Doom Eternal?
Okay, first of all, to the H2O Gotti guy in the chat, if you have a problem with Boom playing Rage 2 for 10 days, you don't want to see what I played Black Desert, buddy. Okay? I'll make you blush. I've played that game so many hours. So just don't pay attention to anybody and what they like to play. Let them play what they want. Yeah. On the Doom, it's the only freaking game I've ever played in my life where I turned all the sound effects down a little bit, and then I made sure the music was at 100%.
Oh, the music is so badass.
And then I cranked up my stereo so much so where it's like about the only game that my wife will actually kind of give me the stink eye and be like, turn it down. So, yeah. I love it.
Those iconic sounds, right? The shotgun, the viciousness of when you take out an enemy. It's like it's something that it's never been produced again. I think that when you feel that thump, right? When you hold shotgun, it's meaningful. And I just think that Doom is just one of those games that just transcends generations.
It is almost the best intro for me ever, when he's in that elevator and he's talking about, obviously everything went wrong, but it was all for humanity. You need to trust me. And the Doom Slayer's just cracking his knuckles, getting ready. The door opens, he pumps the shotgun, and then Doom logo comes up. Like, man, I had goosebumps head to toe. God.
Yeah. Oh, then the I forget what they're called, but the glory kills, that's what they're called. The music actually changes and reacts to what you're doing in the game. It's one of the only games I've ever seen do that. 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X. It's 4K 60. I mean, come on, dude. It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah, Doom was a blast. This new one looks even better. Who wouldn't be excited for it? It looks amazing. And Doom Guy is so pissed off.
He's always so angry.
Like if I ever have a bad day, just play Doom. And I'm like, well, this guy's angrier than I am. I guess I'm doing all right. Seriously.
He's like stalking through the base and just grabs the tag off that guy's neck and drags him over. I love it.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good. Can't wait to see more of it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Mike Roy in the chat says Doom is great because it doesn't waste your time with the tutorial. You learn as you go and get right into it. That's a great point, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember 2016, you kind of just jumped off the table, you grabbed your gear, you just went out there, and I hope that this follows suit. And the second game that they're going to be showing off.
Hey, real quick question, Boo. I'm sorry. Did anyone play the Ultra Nightmare setting in that game?
Oh yeah, it's insane. Yeah, where you die once and the whole game restarts.
That's crazy.
I got far enough to get the achievement, but then I died like right after, and of course I had to restart. But I like playing that mode. It's a fun arcade mode. When I have friends over, we see how far we can get and what we can do.
Well, again, it's one of those. It's one of those modes that they don't have to put in, but they do because they care.
Yep.
They care so much about the game that they want to challenge people, and it becomes like a game, a game within a game, so to speak. How far could you get, dude? And you go and you play, and it resets. I love that about Doom. I love that about ID more specifically. They're just such a great company, and the next game they're going to be showing off in a big way that's going to be coming out this year is Castle Wolfenstein Youngblood. And you know what? This time they're doing something a little bit different. And I really focus this particular topic around Shady simply because I know his hype level is at 11 because you can play the entire game in glorious co-op. Something that he enjoys. He talks about it all the time. So I'm going to go right to you, Shady. Wolfenstein Youngblood puts you into the 1980s, something that you're a big fan of already. Indeed. Of course, you're going to be fighting Nazis in Germany in this alternate universe where, of course, Nazis won World War II, and you're going to be able to play as Jess or Soph, which is, of course, they've been nicknamed the Terror Twins by the Nazis. And you and a buddy can team up, or of course you can use the artificial intelligence companion as you search for your missing pops in the Nazi-controlled Paris. For you, Shady, how excited, again, like Doom, it's ultra gory, arms, legs, heads are exploding all over the place, but you now can do it in glorious co-op. What does that say to you?
Listen, I'm putting together a team, Boom, with one mission, and that one mission is killing Nazis. I love it, man. I love Doom, but it was honestly Wolfenstein that started it all. It was, for me, it was Wolfenstein killing these Nazis. It's one of those groups in the world that you can, they did a really good job of villainizing themselves, if you will.
I think I can agree with that.
That's right. They've gone the rest of time with the rest of the world willing to just be fine with it too. It's like, yeah, that's right. They're terrible dudes. They dressed cool. They had some pretty cool looking uniforms, but man, did they play a good bad guy, like a really, really, really good bad guy that feels damn good to bring down. I love this series. I like the alternate history aspect of it, where those bastards actually won, and we are the underdogs trying to take it back. I think that's really cool. It's dark, and I just like bringing these guys down. There's a few enemies in video games that just stand out for me as number one guys to kill. Nazis, elites in Halo are up there, and there's another. I'll leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. I'm so excited. I'm speechless, man. The cooperative part, I think, is going to be really, really fun. I'm hearing that the approach to the game's levels is almost Dishonored-like. So you're not just running through corridors and that's it. There's going to be multiple approaches to things, multiple pathways in the leveling. You also have lots of perk trees and stuff like that, skill trees to work towards. And that all screams replayability to me, which is awesome. Like, I love it, especially if these combat arenas are fun to play in. And id Software, they deliver on that front. I know it's not id that's making this game, it's Machine Games, but they did the last two and they were fantastic. They were just so good. The AI was aggressive, it was fun, it's violent as hell. The arenas they put you in to fight are really good. I enjoyed the stories. I'm super hyped on this, man. I actually just pre-ordered it the other day for free with my Microsoft rewards, which was sweet. Oh, it felt damn good to do. So I recommend anyone, if you're not looking into what Microsoft rewards are, do a quick Google search. Just go to the site, click on your profile, go to rewards, and see. You might even have a whole pile sitting there already for you to cash in for Microsoft points. But they had a sale, 20% off the points. I cashed mine in, bought that game. So I'm chomping at the bit. Or champing at the bit. I don't know. People say it differently. I'm excited for this game. I can't wait to see more of it, and I cannot wait to play it in just over a month and a bit.
Yeah, I'm currently at a 55-day streak with my Microsoft reward points. I check in every day, get little points here and there. I've gotten so much stuff this year. It's crazy. As a matter of fact, I think I got $50 off of the $100 edition of Division 2.
You can easily get a full year of Xbox Live. I think it's 28,000 points. It is easily the best bargain on the entire reward site. Is going for Live or the Game Pass is their subscription services. You'll get them both essentially for free for the entire year. You log in and spend 3-4 minutes a day. That's it. It's so worth it. I love it. I use it for the games.
Well, go to the page and download. Just click on Mixer. Click on this. Buy a game here. Buy buy a movie there, you rent a movie, you rent 3 movies, you get 2,500 points. I rent movies probably 3 times that amount with my wife. That we're big movie buffs. Real quick, before I get on to Enrique, I gotta shout out Antonio Alicia in the chat says, Kojima, my new game has.
Oh man.
Did we lose you there, Boom?
I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think
we might have. Oh, he's back.
There he is.
Oh, okay. Transcends. Why was I muted or something?
Yeah, he totally disappeared there. Yep.
Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. Okay. Well, anyway,
it's all good.
Okay, we're all good. Okay, so we're back. Anyway, Castle Wolfenstein is one of those titles that transcends generations, like Doom. This one obviously is changing it up a bit by adding co-op, different changing paths, new characters. Of course, it's the same killing zombies, Nazis, but I'm excited for this. What are you expecting to see out of this game?
Enrique. A shitload of action.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a shitload of action and just over the top fun, man. It's one of my favorite franchises. I remember playing the original back on the PC and just like going in God mode and just mowing down Nazis. It's fun, and it's really interesting. I'm glad that they're offering that cooperative multiplayer experience, because that's pretty new for that game, for the single player campaign or for the campaign.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. This game is definitely, now I will definitely find a way to play this game, Boom.
Yeah.
That I would promise you.
Okay. I mean,
they have a cool mechanic. If you get the digital, or what do you call it, the deluxe version of this game, it gives you a code which lets you play with other people that don't have the game.
Correct.
But the wording on it is unclear. I'm not sure if you only have that code and it works once with one friend, or if you can play with any friend just one at a time that doesn't own it. I'm not sure yet, but there is a version that lets you actually play with people that don't have it. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
I hope they bring those glory kills from Doom into Wolfenstein. I know that's not going to happen, but I would love to see that.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, real quick, guys. Is there any chance anyone could see the super chat from CyberKnox? I can't see it.
I don't see it. No.
Yeah, I don't know. He's asked me if it went through. I really can't tell. I can only tell after the show. But CyberKnox, I want to thank you for being here, dude. You're a good friend and you are an asset to this community. So if you did drop one, I apologize. I must have missed it. I usually am really good with like that. Sorry about that, dude. But I will get back to you on that. And of course, closing out this, ID Software Bethesda topic, Tempest, what are your opinions on what you've seen so far with, the next Castle Wolfenstein?
It looks awesome. The only thing that strikes me as weird is the outfits. I know they're supposed to be like super outfits or whatever, but I love the sister dynamic. I love it when any form of game or movie puts a big emphasis on any form of like family. It makes the stakes high, and I do enjoy that. So yeah, it looks good. I mean, the last two were fantastic, and who knew they were going to make Wolfenstein again and make it really good? Like, who thought that would have happened, And here we are with another one coming out. It's a discounted game too, I believe, too, right? It's like 40 bucks.
Yeah, 40 bucks. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really cool. That, and it's probably going to be a crisp, I don't know, 10, 12 hours maybe of just like a really good time. That seems worth it to me. And not every game can be Assassin's Creed Odyssey long, and nor should it be. So this just looks like a fun, quick romp, and I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, you can go to the movies now, especially go to the IMAX. You pay you pay $44 for 2 tickets, and the movie sucks. You pay $40 for this, and you're going to get 10 to 12, 15 hours of anyone that was going to buy this game would expect. Lots of gore, lots of big guns, lots of action pieces, and if you like it, then this is probably your bag, so to speak. But I want to move on to, of course, the next company we're going to talk about, and it's EA, but we're only going to talk about one game. The only game that EA is going to be showing at their EA Play event, which again I got lucky enough to get into, and I'm scheduled to actually play, and I'm going to get a chance to talk, hopefully, to one of the development team members on Saturday afternoon. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order by Respawn is looking more and more promising. I know that we've only seen the trailer that's CG, but I'm actually going to get a chance to play the game. Hopefully I could record it for the channel. I'm really looking forward to this. Coming off of Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 with the exclusive right deal that EA has with Disney, both those games, they looked good, but they were surrounded in controversy. The first one was okay, and the second one had the loot box situation. This, of course, is going to be a very different Star Wars game because it's single player, story driven. New addition to the canon. Shady, being a big, huge Star Wars fan, what is your excitement level for Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order?
I'm very excited for it. I got not worries, if you will, but just not even concerns. It's just I want it to be really good. I think it's just because I'm such a big Star Wars fan, I want it to deliver on all fronts. I don't want it to just be all narrative that's awesome, or the narrative is weak. Even that would suck really bad. Like, I hope the story is sweet. I hope it delivers something that's compelling. I hope these characters have depth. Personally, I kind of wanted to play as like another Dark Jedi that was hunting down all the remaining Jedis in this game. Instead, we find ourselves as Padawan hiding from said Dark Jedi.
His name is Cal Kestis.
Yeah, Cal Kestis. It's so Star Wars of a name. My God. I like it. The character, actually, he's an actor, I believe, from Gotham. I think he played the Joker. So he's been around. He's got some acting chops on him. And that tells me maybe that this character could show up, maybe even one of the Star Wars shows that are coming out later, the Bounty Hunter show. Maybe he's out on the fringes or something like that, which could be really cool if it's a cross-media type character. I'm excited for it, man, but they got to deliver on the gameplay. And when you have lightsabers involved, I don't know what it is. It seems tricky, I guess, because they don't like to treat a lightsaber like a lightsaber. If I'm in a fight with it and I slice the guy, he's got to go down with the one hit.
I think actually that was a big point with a lot of fans. I think that when you cut a stormtrooper in half, you're cutting him in half.
Yeah, they got to get sliced, or at least die instantly. Like, you can't take 5 hits with a lightsaber and then it's the 6th hit that is like, all right, that one hurt me enough, I'm gonna die. Like, come on, man. What did those first 5 slices do? And same with the environment. Like, I want my lightsaber to just carve up the environment. I would like to cut down like street poles and trees and slice into the door and have it melt like it did in the movie and stuff. Like, a lightsaber is just so cool, but I find is very poorly implemented in video games. So I hope they can do something special with that. And same with force powers. I hope that they can really make them something impressive and fun to use. And then I'm not just throwing out like a big force wave that knocks guys around. Like I want the animations to be stellar and have a lot of physics and stuff to be thrown around the room when these powers are being used. I want my saber to cut stuff. I want the story to be relatively dark. I understand Star Wars is for everybody, but it's not afraid to get dark. We all remember Anakin slicing down younglings 10 minutes after bowing down to the Emperor. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got to go kill the younglings? That's fine. No problem. Holy moly, it doesn't get much darker than that. So I'd like to see the game get dark. And I got high hopes, though. I hope it's good. The fact that you get to play it early, my God, jelly I am. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
I cannot wait. Like I said,
very
it's
cool.
Awesome, Boom.
I'm so excited that it's this year. I know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're gonna getting it November 15th, 2019. If you didn't know, Enrique, first of all, this is probably one of the bigger releases this year, simply because we're getting Star Wars Episode 9. We're also getting a new Star Wars canon related game with a new character. I'm very interested to see this. I cannot actually wait to get my hands on the controller to play this. For you personally, how excited are you to see what Respawn, obviously Vince Impella and his crew have been working hard at this, and they are masters at telling story. If you look back to what they did with Infinity Ward, and of course the single player campaign with Titanfall 2 was outstanding. What are your expectations?
Given the pedigree with Vince and the team, I am looking forward to a good Star Wars game. I feel like it's been long overdue. I didn't like the Battlefront games that came out. I think with I'm on the same page as Shady. I'd like to probably see something a little bit darker in terms of story. And yeah, the lightsabers. That's funny you bring that up, because I don't want to see a situation where I'm using my lightsaber and there's stormtroopers they're taking like 4 or 5 hits of the lightsaber. The sticks hit, they're going down. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
So I've seen Return of the Jedi when the Ewoks take the guys down with a rock. How is my lightsaber taking 5 hits?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see that. Like, I want to see like it. It's like it's a lightsaber. It's freaking. You can cut through like doors. It shouldn't take 5 hits, 5 swings to take someone out. So I do want to see that. And I think the biggest thing for me is just a compelling story and just good gameplay. The force powers. I want to see like good animation with the force powers. I would have liked to see maybe an option where there's some choice involved in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Like KOTOR, where you kind of could you could be a Jedi, where you could go full on Sith, or you could be somewhere in the middle. You could be kind of like a gray Jedi. I would like to see that kind of like choice where you can kind of teeter on, the dark side and the light side of the Force, and then have ability based on your decisions, have access to certain type of force powers like you did in KOTOR. So that's what I'd like to see. But I just want to see a good Star Wars game. That's the biggest thing for me. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Battlefront, but with Vince and the pedigree, I think this game's going to be good. I think, and Boom, I'm telling you, man, I'm super happy for you, man, that you get a chance to play this game at E3, man. I can't wait to get your feedback.
Oh, well, listen, I'm going to be doing live coverage each and every day. I'm going to be trying to do a live podcast. So, of course, anyone that's worked with me in the past, I'm going to be reaching out to tons of people, because I don't mind doing a solo show, but I think it's always fun when you get other people's opinions. But I want to get to Tempest on this. The game story team includes Aaron Contreras, who worked on the Mafia 3 title, which was amazing, and Chris Avalon, who's famous for several Obsidian RPGs, among other things. They are penning the story for the Fallen Order. I think it's going to be another fantastic Respawn game. They have a lot of big talent working on this. For you, are you excited to know that the story is being penned by these two masters of their craft?
That's always encouraging. Absolutely. To me, the most encouraging thing is just knowing that it's Respawn is the old Infinity Ward when you can say COD was quote unquote really
Good. Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, it seems to me like even though it doesn't always translate to sales, let's be honest, but everything they touch seems like it turns to gold to me. They haven't had a lackluster title yet. So I thoroughly trust it's going to be good. Like we've been saying, it's cool that the stormtroopers and such are going to be taken out with one lightsaber swing. To me, if you're going to make it realistic like that, I also think it would be cool if they gave you the tools to not get shot by a blaster bolt. But if it happens, maybe we should go down in one hit, make it tit for tat. I mean, last time I checked, Jedis just wear robes. So
Oh yeah.
they don't got any body armor. So just give me the tools to do what I have to do. Don't make it tedious, but make sure you give me the tools to block all the shots, incoming shots, but make it so you have to be quick, swift, and skilled to get to these stormtroopers. And from there, take them out in one hit. That's what I, would do. But either way, I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing. I'm extremely excited for you, Boom. You get to go out and get to play it. It's just, it's awesome. That has me excited for you. So
I definitely appreciate that. Listen, we've crossed the 2-hour mark. I do have a few other titles to talk about. I don't know if the panel could still hang around.
I personally have to go, but if I go, I'm just gonna hop in my work vehicle and listen to the rest of the show. But I personally have to go. But you guys.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. What I'll do is I'll just add some of these topics to tomorrow's Xbox show because they are kind of Xbox related. I want to say first of all, I want to thank the chat. You guys were outside of one knucklehead who, of course, I don't understand. Like, what was that about? Like, it sometimes shocks me people's motivation. Like, I think
Weirdos,
I'm pretty really good dude, and I enjoy everyone's company, and I think I'm as welcoming as you could possibly imagine a host could be. Everyone that's in the chat, all 140 or 152 people, if I'm not mistaken, I welcomed everyone.
Yeah,
even the knucklehead. I said welcome to the show because he was a new face.
You even addressed his question. You're like, hey, if you want to see what games I played, here's my gamer tag.
Yeah, just go to MrBooMStickXL on Xbox Live, and I think the work is just there. But I want to thank for the normal folks, for the folks that tune in each and every week. I want to thank you guys because you power the show. I know Dealer says that a lot, but I have to reiterate that because without you listening, this would not be a show. And I want to thank you, of course, for the generosity in the super chats. That is really unbelievable that you would donate money to the show. It's always going to be greatly appreciated. And of course, my outstanding panel who gave up 2 hours of their Wednesday to hang out on this big E3 or pre-E3 games show where we talked a lot about a lot of the big games. First of all, let me do the outros. I want to go to So Shady. Listen, I say this all the time, Shady, and I really do mean this. Not only are you an outstanding community member, you are one of the hardest working dudes. You're on everyone's shows, and you make everyone's shows better, even whether you're guesting or whether you're a regular panel member. Tell everyone where they can tune in to listen to you, but more specifically, check you out on Twitter and follow you.
Oh, thank you, Boom. I appreciate all the good words there. That sounds great. You can keep going, but no. I love doing these shows, man. I have a hell of a great time coming out here and talking games with everybody. The community that you've built over here on your channel is fantastic. They're very polite. 99.9% of the time. It's great, man. Thank you so much for making me a part of 2 of the shows you do. One of them being today. That's every Wednesday on Gaming News at Noon with Shady and Boom. And also on Wednesday, I do the Xbox Nation with Crap Gamer Reviews. And then Friday mornings, I'm on Breakfast with Boom. On Twitter, I go by So Shady at the Sesh Empire. That is one word. And on Xbox, I am just So Shady. I hope you guys out there are as hyped as I am for E3. My God, this is the best time of year for me as a gamer. It is so good. I feel like a little kid inside, and I just cannot wait for game reveal after game reveal, hot trailer after hot trailer, a tease of some next-gen action. How are we going to start playing all these new games on any device? Like, I am hyped, man. The industry is in a shift and a change. I think we're in for something special. I cannot wait Cannot wait. If I'm not mistaken, I think Stadia might even be kicking things off tomorrow night. So we don't even have to wait long before we start getting into something new to see, man. I'm hyped to see that too. Google's got
And
a lot of
there's a
damn
heavy
money.
rumor that the next Arkham game is going to be shown there.
Oh my God.
More specifically titled Arkham. What is it called? Arkham something or other, where it's going to be the Court of Owls.
Where is
that kind of stuff, man. And like tomorrow, if we're getting reveals like that already, oh baby, I'm super excited. Thank you everybody for coming out today, spending your time with us. We're talking games. We're super hyped. I'll see you out there. Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shady. Appreciate it. And of course, Enrique from the Basement Radio Arcade podcast. You know, I'm a big fan of your work, have been for a while. Before I actually got on to doing my own stuff, before I was even actually a panel member on the Crossfire podcast. But I enjoy working with you now. I'm glad that we've become very close as friends. And I really enjoyed what you brought to the table. Thank you so much for being here. Please tell everyone where they can sub the Basement Radio Arcade podcast and also follow you on Twitter.
Boom, let me just say, man, I always love doing your shows, man. It's always a great conversation. It always gets me exciting for gaming. Especially with E3, I mean, being around the corner. Look, we're things are starting to trickle in already. It looks like Destiny 2 is going to be on Stadia now. It looks like Destiny 2 is going to have cross-play or cross-save. Excuse me, cross-save. And then you guys mentioned that Google's kicking off E3 tomorrow. So this is just an exciting time to be a gamer, and please, everyone, just focus on that. We may play on different devices, whatever the case is, but the one commonality that we have is our love for gaming. Yes, we're
gamers. That's it.
Yeah, and so that's why I love doing shows like this. You know, and boom, man. Great shows always, man. Love being on. Keep up the great work, man. I'm really surprised by that one troll, by the way.
We don't get them. We don't get them often. We don't normally get them often. Of course, the sheriff in there, UK Dazarus, and the indie gamer, who of course have said beer numerous times, took care of the issue. And thank you guys for always being incredible moderators. But yeah, listen, Enrique, it's great to have you on. Love your style of podcasting. Love the way that you interact with the community, and you are a great addition to any show you're ever on. So thank you so much for being here, dude. And of course, last but certainly not least, because he's got to get on out of here, is Tempest son, who eventually will get his own show or be on someone's show. He's a talented member of this community. He's always if he's not on the show, he's in the chat supporting it, with both hands. So thank you so much for being here, dude, and taking the time and actually working your work schedule around today's show. Appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can follow you on, of course, Twitter, but more specifically, wind up hitting you up on Xbox Live or PSN for your gamer tag.
Yeah, thank you, Boom. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got a chance to be on a show with Enrique. It was nice meeting you, dude. As far as where you can catch me on Twitter, it's Tempest Sun at the Tempest Sun. My gamer tag is Tempest Sun with a space in between there. And then my PSN is just Tempest Sun, no space. Whenever you guys want to get a hold of me and chit chat, I'm all for it.
He's probably playing Black Desert, though. I'm just saying.
more than likely. Yeah, I got a guild. We're 50 people deep. I mean, we're taking on other guilds. Massive PvP.
Nice.
It's great, man. It's great. So, gaming's fun, and like I said, this Sunday I'm going to be sitting there watching it like it's the dang Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good time, and I'm going to love the fact that MrBooMStick's going to be there watching the show.
Well, I definitely appreciate that very much. And again, before we get out of here, big shout out to the chat. Big shout out to the super chat. And of course, big and ginormous shout out to my incredible panel. Thank you guys for being here. Everyone, tune in tomorrow at noon, where we're going to be doing the Xbox 2019 E3 prediction show. Got a lot of content I've been working on with that. I'm trying to get other guests. I'll see if we can get other one, but if not, it's just going to be, as always, me and the Welsh Gamer. Tune in tomorrow at 12 noon for that. And there's not going to be a Breakfast with Boom because I will be on a plane to LA at very early in the morning, New York time. But have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your gaming. Be nice. Treat people how you want to be treated. and just be a gamer. Take care, everybody.